All right. Is it Michael or Mike? Do I call you? As we go on here, Mike.
Yeah, I can go by Michael.
Michael. Okay. I think I'd go by Michael just after Jordan, kind of. Of
Yeah.
course, you're probably way too young to remember watching Jordan play, though.
Oh no, I do. Actually, I was named after Michael Jordan.
No, no kidding.
My mom allowed my four older brothers to name me, and that's what they named me after.
Good. They went with a good one then. Anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I turned out to be the most unathletic child in the family.
Well, when were you born?
1990, November 7th.
Okay. You look younger than you are then. But you were like 8 the last time the Bulls won with
Yeah,
Jordan, though.
yeah. I just know him because of Space Jams.
That was the old Space Jam too, the one with the real Bugs Bunny and back in the day. I thought that was
Oh
better,
yeah.
I think. I don't think I ever watched it because I was a little too old to be watching cartoons in the movie theater probably then. I was born in 74, so I'm quite a bit ahead of you.
Yeah, I that was my one of my favorite movies growing up.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched a ton of Looney Tunes. I know that. We used to get up Saturday morning and watch Bugs Bunny, and that was big influence on my life, Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, so did you grow up in the Spokane area? Is that where you're from?
Yeah, yeah. I grew up in Spokane. Yeah, we moved here. I was like born in Seattle area, and then
Yeah.
that was way too expensive to raise five boys, so my
Yeah.
parents moved to Spokane when I was about one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a nice place over there. I've spent, quite a bit of times there. My favorite place I went to back in college days was Jack and Dan's. I don't know if
Oh
you
yeah, yeah.
if that's still around. Is that still a big deal?
That is still around, Jack and Dan's. I haven't been
Yeah.
there for a long time, but yeah, I used to go to Jack and Dan's.
Yeah. I liked it because everybody had a bottle or it was all draft beer. So everyone had a pitcher and you'd just be sitting there filling each other's glasses up, and it was always a good time. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I like living over here. I mean, I am getting to the point now that I've been on the road enough for comedy
Yeah.
and everything, and that I'm getting tired of like the cold and the snow.
Yeah.
So, I actually booked myself. I made sure that I'm barely going to be home in the winter this
All
year.
right. Well, you're coming to Butte next week, and I hate to break it to you, but we just got 6 inches of snow the other night.
I know I'm so worried. I drive a Spark Chevy, and if you don't know what that is, it's a little bit bigger than a smart car.
Yeah.
And so we're driving from Boise, Idaho to Butte that day. And
Yeah.
so I gotta go get me chains and everything.
Yeah, because you'll be coming over Menida Pass. That's not always an easy drive, but I don't this time of year that's pretty rare for us to get that kind of snow. Even though it snowed a little bit more today, it's nice out now.
Yeah, and that's what I'm kind of hoping is it's not too bad while I'm driving over there. I don't
Yeah.
think, normally I'm not too worried this time of the year yet to go to like
Yeah.
Seattle or anything, but it snowed in the pass over there too, like the Snoqualmie Pass, I
Oh,
think it.
dear. Yeah, that can be pretty brutal to drive over too.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I'm not a good driver. I'm a bad driver, so
Really?
oh yeah, I've been afraid of driving my entire life. I just got my
Yeah.
driver's license maybe 3, 4 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Well, of
I'm
course, there's a little more traffic in Spokane than what you'll see in Butte, so I can see where that might kind of intimidate somebody from wanting to drive.
Yeah, I grew up with like a dad who would watch the things around the road more than the road. So that was pretty scary growing up, like listening to my mom yell at him all the time. He's like, look at the birds, look at
Yeah.
the trees.
Just watch the damn road, right?
My mom would be like, watch the road. So I just grew up with that kind of fear growing up, and then started traveling all over with my wife. And she's like, hey, look, I can't do this alone. You got to go get your license. And I fought it for years and years. And now that I have it, I'm going over the speed limit.
It's easy to do.
Oh, I love it. I drove the longest drive I've ever done yet so far was from Spokane to Salt Lake City, which I think
Yeah.
is like 12 hour.
Yeah, it's a pretty good haul.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I worked over in Moscow, Idaho back in '98. I was out there, worked at the Moscow Pullman Daily News. And
Oh,
so I know the area a little bit, I golfed a little bit up in Spokane. And but I tell you what, that the worst drive I've ever taken in my life is from Coeur d'Alene to Moscow back then. And I think the road's 95 is a little better than it was now,
yeah.
but it was so awful then. Like the white line that was supposed to be on the side of the road was all crumbled off the side. So there was no white line. And then there'd be a tractor pull out in front of you,
Yeah.
around the corner. It was just awful.
I drove. I was with Aaron Blyle. We were going to Wise Guys. We were doing Boise and Twin Falls the day before, and
Yeah.
we drive from there to Wise Guys and in Utah, and you could barely see the roads at all. It was like so much snow just coming at
Oh,
your
yeah.
car that you were
Yeah.
basically like blind driving.
Yeah. And when you guys go, see, like if I got to go somewhere, I can usually just cancel. Like I got a doctor appointment in Missoula or something, it's snowing, I can cancel. But you've got comedy shows booked out months and months ahead of time. You're not just going to cancel that. So you're going to have to just tough it through if you see snow. So I imagine there's probably been lots of times you had to do that.
Yeah, we could cancel, and I think audience members are very understanding when it comes to like weather. Like if
Yeah.
you're canceling for no reason, like if you just wake up and go, I don't feel like doing a show today, then
Yeah.
that's not a good reason. But if there's a
Yeah.
time like, oh, this is a safety concern, I'm not gonna go. Especially like
Yeah.
if it's not like a huge corporate show where I'm going to make a lot of money, I'm not going to like risk my
Yeah.
life uh, to perform in the back of a
Yeah.
pizza. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah, coming to be. I don't know how big of an arena they got for you at Butte there at the depot. I think it's in Bourbon Alley. I don't think it's a ton, but I think it's pretty cool setting what they got set up. So
no,
it's
it's a
not worth risking your life for probably though.
smaller room, but some of those are my favorite to do. Like I'm on the
Yeah,
road a lot now, some with my shows. So like next year I'll be on the road filming a documentary this entire year, and I'll be hitting up all these comedy clubs, like 200 to 300 seat
yeah,
comedy clubs. I love doing those. They're fun. I make a lot more money, merch, all that
yeah,
stuff. But I love doing those like small, very compact, intimate rooms way
yeah,
more because you're like right there with the audience, and
yeah.
it's like they're part of the show.
Yeah, and of course, I just saw Aaron Foster. I don't know if you know Aaron. He's
Yeah.
about he does a lot of bits about suicide and depression and stuff, and he's really funny. But I couldn't watch him when he was in Butte because Butte High football was playing, and my son plays for the football team. So the next night I went up to Helen and watched him in a little theater up there, about 75 seats, and it was great. It was a great setting. But your show is probably even better for that because Aaron doesn't want participation from the crowd. But you kind of you go in there you're mostly pulling the stuff right off the top of your head that night. It's not like you got an act that you're using. You're kind of a lot of improvised stuff and a lot of songs and stuff that requires crowd participation.
Yeah, and there is some set stuff for this one. It's more improvised than actually my normal show is.
Yeah.
So normally my normal show will be like 30% written material, where I kind of go into my disability and why I play music, which I play music on stage because I have difficulties memorizing things.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
I get distracted very easily. And music, when I hear a beat and a rhythm, it helps me be able to focus and
Nice.
put things together and kind of understand it more. So I
Yeah.
talk about, my brothers. I talk about being a baby of five boys. I talk about a lot of that stuff, but this show is different because it's mainly like 80, 90% improvised. People write down on a piece of paper, they put it into a bucket. I don't know what I'm pulling out of there, but then I have to improvise my entire set based off their suggestions.
Yeah. That'd be tough. I don't know. I used to watch Whose Line Is It Anyway, and I didn't know how they could pull off those good lines. They'd do a quick song right off the top of their head and put it together. And I always had a lot of admiration for people that can do that because that can't be easy. I guess it must be just kind of a natural talent you you're just born with, or you either have it or you don't.
Yeah, it's you can practice improv. There are improv classes and stuff,
Yeah.
and the more you practice, I mean, even if you're not somebody who wants to be an improviser or anything like that, they're great just, for business leaders, for
Yeah.
teachers, that, because it kind of does teach you how to kind of just think on the spot and kind
Yeah.
of open up a little bit more.
Yeah. Just kind of get the ball rolling and everything. Yeah. I can see
Yeah.
that. Now you started playing your guitar when you were like 8 years old, I think I read. Is that
Yeah.
right?
I used to steal my father's guitar when he was at work, and I would
Yeah.
go upstairs and I would just. I remember the song I actually used to play. We learned a song in elementary school that went rattlesnake, rattlesnake, why are your teeth so white? I lived in the graveland all my life, and all I did was bite, bite, bite. And I remember being a kid, and that's, by the way, that's the only song I don't remember any lyrics to songs, and I remember that one. And I would sit upstairs playing my guitar, singing that over and over, just open strumming. And when I was 8, my father came home one day early from work, and he heard me, and he's like, "What's that racket going up?" So like, who's playing music? What is that? And then he came up and saw me like on his guitar, and I thought he was going to beat the heck out of me. I thought I was in so much. I was like crying. He's like, "No, it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay." Like, I was excited that I wanted to learn
Yeah.
how to play, and started teaching me at 8.
Yeah. And that is that tough to learn how to play the guitar? My daughter taught herself a little bit how to play, and she does pretty good. She plays their Nirvana song, and she doesn't know a lot, but I tried. It just looks like there's no way I could do it. I just couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, I've discovered how to. I've taught youth guitar lessons before, and I've kind
Mhm.
of learned how to teach it a little bit easier because I kind of break down the guitar first. I let the
Yeah.
kid understand like what the frets are, what the strings are, what the finger numbers are, and then the first thing I start doing is doing little scales to practice building calluses, and then I start explaining with those things. I put them together
Mhm.
so they learn how to form chords, and I jump into chords right away just because most kids will lose interest if they can't start
Yeah.
playing.
Yeah. You want to immediately play Nirvana, right? You don't want to. You don't want to sit there and work on the strumming and all that. That's probably why I never really could catch on with that. I got a guitar probably about the same age as you. I got a guitar for Christmas, and it was just a complete waste of Santa Claus's resources to bring me that guitar because I mean, I'd pull it out of the case every once in a while and strum it a little bit, but I never ever used it. It was never, it was a nice enough guitar. It was, wasn't expensive. I'm sure whatever my parents could afford back then wasn't much, but yeah, it was just a waste.
It's like a whole nother skill to teach a kid something like
Yeah.
that. Before I went full time into comedy, that's what I was doing. Is I was more teaching youth. So I was a preschool teacher, and I taught guitar. I taught improv workshops, and that was always an easy
Yeah.
place for me to teach, especially with my improv skills and being all
Yeah.
over the place. I think kids could connect to that. So
Yeah. Probably great for preschool teacher.
yeah, yeah, I've joked about it on stage before, where it's like, I
Yeah.
kind of look like like a hip youth pastor on stage. Uh, no, I love music, and I've been doing it for a while, and ever since I was a kid, my father would try to teach me songs. I never
Yeah.
wanted to learn how to play
So
real songs.
just so you were never in a band then, or
In high school, for like 5 months, I was in a band that we called Caber Toss. Never did anything with it, but
yeah.
no, I've always. Oh, and I'm kind of in a band right now. I do a duo band, kind of like Tenacious D, but we just do kind of what I do solo, but together. And we
Yeah.
only do 3 shows a year, so we've done like Bumbershoot and some
Yeah.
other stuff like that.
Well, that's pretty cool. It's I watched some videos of you on different social media, and it was pretty interesting though. I mean, it seems like you got a knack that really keeps people on their toes the whole time. You're not losing them with a little long story and stuff. It just seems like people are really engaged with it and really seem to like what you do.
Yeah, it's fun. It's kind of hard posting stuff online though, because I feel like everything I do becomes an inside joke with the audience.
Yeah.
It's like if you're not there, then you don't really get it.
Yeah.
So it's like you go to explain it
Makes
to your
sense.
friends. Yeah.
I
And
guess you had to be there.
yeah.
That's a hard tagline to put on social media for a comedy site, right? I guess you had to be there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's I'll name that my next special.
And I like your merch. What it says, I make stuff up, your shirt that you sell. I might have to get one of them.
Yeah, I love it. And it sells really easy at shows because I think if you're selling merch, it's some people want personal stuff with your name and face or things like
Yeah.
that. I've noticed if people don't know you, having something very generic is great because they'll buy multiple of them for their
Yeah.
friends. Like I've had
Yeah.
people come up to me after a show and buy 10 shirts for their
No
entire family
kidding, huh?
because they're
That's
like, "Me
great.
and my family, we all make stuff up." And I'm like, "Yeah, buy more shirts."
That's awesome. That's good. And now you so for a while you worked as a preschool teacher. How long did you do that for?
Man, after high school, I mean, I probably worked in not just preschool, but I worked in childcare for maybe 8, 9 years.
Yeah.
I did that. I worked at a children's museum for a little bit. I was a one-on-one leader for kids with disabilities, and then I've taught at a lot of uh, academies for improv, like theater and stuff.
Yeah.
So, which there's been a lot of kids from those classes that go on to like Juilliard and to go on like touring off Broadway shows and stuff.
Well, that's pretty cool to know to have an influence in somebody's life who goes on to something like that. You
Yeah,
know.
it's been awesome, and I love it. And I'll probably never stop teaching. I still teach improv
Yeah.
every now and then. Even though like comedy is my main job, I book for comedians, I tour, and all that stuff. But I still like to teach.
Yeah. Now, as comedy, is that something that you probably had to be funny out of self-defense with four older brothers to stop the beatings?
Yeah, I mean, they never found me funny.
It probably led to more
I
beatings,
got
right?
beat. Yeah, that's why I got them. You know, I I don't know where comedy comes from. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
what gets people because there's so many people out there that go like, "I'm funny," and then they do like this like slapstick, like joking with their friends type of
Yeah.
humor, which is not normally what works on stage. I
Yeah.
think I think I had the ability always to be a performer. Like I've always loved to perform. I've always loved to be in front of people. And I've always loved to be a center of attention. And
Yeah.
I think
So you
that's
get in a lot of trouble in school, did you?
yeah, a little bit. Uh, and I just think that's like comedy, like
Yeah.
and some comics might I don't know if they'll disagree with this, but you kind of have to be in your head a little bit to get on stage by yourself, nobody up there with you, and have everybody's
Yeah.
looking at you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It can't be easy. I can't imagine.
Oh no, especially like if you bomb or you
Yeah.
get a bad heckler in a show, it's you're like, how do I save it from
Yeah. Yeah. Because you see that too. You see of course, I watch some of those videos online. That Steve Hofstetter, I think
yeah.
he loves to have hecklers. I think almost as encourages them. But you know, most people, it's so frustrating when I go to a show and there's somebody talking. It drives me nuts because I just want to give the undivided attention to the performer. And of course I'm a really good crowd guy for the comics because I laugh at everything. Even when guys are bombing, I'll be the guy laughing at the jokes because I see what he's getting at, even though it's not landing. But
Would you
it would be so hard though, when especially get a heckler going on, because some of these you go places where they're selling a bunch of booze, like Bourbon Alley in Butte when at the depot,
yeah.
you never know what you're going to get. And I think we're a pretty good crowd in Butte for stuff like that, but still, it probably gets pretty tough from time to time.
Yeah, it can be difficult. It's just such a weird thing because people who come out to heckle think they're helping out the show, but they
Yeah.
don't realize that everybody in there hates them in that
Oh
moment.
yeah.
Like nobody out there is like, "Oh, did you see that heckler tonight? Wasn't he great?"
Yeah.
I'm glad I paid for that. I just saw who was it? It was was it Pete Holmes or somebody was doing like a late night show, and he's the nicest person. I've never seen someone deal with hecklers
Yeah.
so nicely, and this person would just not stop. And it's like you don't realize, but when you're heckling, you think you're a part of the show and helping out, but a host gets 5 to 10 minutes. You're
Yeah.
interrupting, they're going there with 10 minutes prepped, and now you've just ruined them being able to do what they
Yeah.
to do. Sometimes they're working on new material, they're adding new jokes, and you just threw them off.
Yeah. And with nothing that's going to make anybody else laugh.
Yeah.
It's just going to annoy anybody who goes there.
And I do like audience interaction sometimes. Like
Yeah.
there are times where I've interacted with audience members, but not every comic enjoys that.
Yeah.
And
Well, there's
I
probably a fine line between what you do between heckling and participation anyway. I mean, you're getting participation, probably doesn't take much for someone participate to turn into a heckler, whether or not they mean it or not.
Well, and when are you doing it? That's the other thing too, is if you're just heckling in the middle of a joke, you're like interrupting
Yeah.
a set. But if somebody's asking the audience, I have a joke that takes people to respond. I don't get like dirty. I'm not like that on stage, but I there's a set where I talk about like, oh, it's okay that my brother's treating me this way because I'm here in front of you doing comedy and he's in an alley selling weed somewhere. And I tell a whole joke about how I've only done weed one time. I go, yeah, I've only done I don't do weed, and I stop. I'm like, oh, you can tell I don't do weed. By the way, I just said do weed. And then I go into talking about edible chocolates and how I had them for the first time. And my friend made these edible chocolates at my house because he didn't want to make them at his house because he was trying to be a good father. So he came over to my house, and in there I talk about making these edible chocolates and him going to the bathroom. And when he was in the bathroom, I say, oh, I remember baking with my grandmother as a child. And what would you do every time you were done baking with your grandmother? Like, I'm saying that to the audience
Yeah.
to get a response. Like,
Yeah.
that's when it is a good time for you to open up, and people be like, oh, lick the spoon. And then usually one person will always say, lick the bowl. And I'm like, that's what I did. I started licking the rest of the bowl of chocolate. And I won't get into the whole joke, but yeah, and I go into that, but I'm saying something to get a response
Yeah.
from them during that time.
Yeah. Now, how long have you been doing this now as a on stage, traveling around?
It's kind of hard because I was just starting to get a lot of stuff. Like I was on the verge of like doing cruise ships in colleges before the pandemic hit. So
Yeah.
I just started getting into full time maybe like a year before the pandemic. So I would say I've been doing it full time now for the last 2 years, but I've been doing comedy for like 11
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. Because I saw you won a pretty big award back in 2018
Yeah,
for
I
comedy, World Series of Comedy or something like that. Was it?
yeah, I didn't win the World Series. It was like I don't know how that even got in there. I just
No.
won a satellite version of it.
Oh, well, we'll say you won the whole damn thing. What the hell?
Yeah, and I also won. No, for this.
Also won the Nobel Peace Prize, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, man, it's one of those things. It's like I've been doing it for a while, but some of it's been kind of off and on, and now I'm
Yeah.
back being able to do it full time, which I'm excited because I'm not just a comic who's like I'm doing it full time, and then it's like I've got a rich wife. I'm not that.
Yeah.
There's some comics who are like I'm a full time comic, and they like do 2 shows, paid shows a month, but they have like some type of check coming in every month.
Yeah. Yeah. And your wife travels with you. Is that what you said?
Sometimes, I mean, she didn't. I just got back. I actually flew in today, like
Yeah.
2 hours ago, and she didn't go on that trip with me. I'm about to go on the road for a week and a half. She's not going on that. I'm gone for like a month and a half, and she won't go
Huh.
with us. So she kind of looks and goes, "Do I want to go to Oklahoma?" Nah.
Not so much. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Butte,
I'm
when it just snowed 6 inches, probably not really enticing to her either, going from
no.
Boise to Butte.
Yeah, it depends. If I'm going to somewhere hot and sunny near a beach, she'll be there. I might be going on a Europe tour in August, September time. So
Yeah.
she'll go to that.
Oh
But you're
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, it's Bill Burr said that with his wife whenever he goes to Europe or overseas, his wife goes, but she doesn't go with him anywhere else.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
you're not. Oh, and by the way, there's nothing against Oklahoma when I say that. I had fun in
Yeah.
Oklahoma, but I'm not out exploring in
Yeah.
Oklahoma. You
Yeah.
know, so and
You're just doing your thing, yeah.
you're there for a day or two before you go to the next spot. So it's not like she's going to go out and do a lot during those times.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes that makes sense for sure. Uh now you guys been married for quite a while?
Yeah, we got married. Well, we got married in 2019 before the pandemic.
Yeah.
So her and I actually met through improv.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we've been friends for maybe like 14, 15 years, and then we've been together for about 9 now.
Oh, that's
8.
pretty cool.
So
Is she a
yeah,
comedian too, or is she just likes the improv stuff?
she just likes improv because improv you're together. That's the
Yeah.
difference. Stand up, you're kind of a independent business. When improv, you're like a nonprofit community.
Yeah. Yeah, in improv, what's the number one rule of improv is you always have to agree, right? Everything's the answer is always yes kind of
I
deal.
that rule. I
Yeah,
really
yeah. Because
I,
and what I know from improv is from watching Michael Scott do it on The Office in his class. He's always had the gun, you know.
yeah, we always say when I teach improv, one of the rules is don't be Michael Scott.
Yeah,
No, people are like, oh, we say yes, and then they're like doing like 4 weeks of yes and
yeah,
exercises in their classes. And I really don't like that because obviously there's times in a scene where your character is not that. They're
yeah,
not, or, they don't like Disney World. Now, the idea is I always say acknowledge in advance, like a firm acknowledge in advance. You want to acknowledge what's
yeah.
happening. And your response needs to advance the same. So, like, if you obviously say, oh, happy birthday, and I go, no, it's not my birthday, that's not going to advance the scene. That's
Yeah,
just me basically taking what you said and throwing it out the window. But if I sit there and like I'm this pouty person who's feels like they're better than everybody, and I'm like, oh, this is a cake you got me. Ew, I don't want this cake. Like that's part of the character.
yeah,
And if I hone it, then it can be beneficial for the scene.
yeah. You're not just taking everybody down like Michael Scott,
Yeah.
pulling a gun out and being the secret, was he the FBI agent Michael Scott?
Yeah. There's always one of those in an improv
Is it
class.
really? So that
Yeah.
it's not that far fetched.
Oh, every now and then you get somebody who comes in and they just like want to block everything, or they
Yeah,
everything has to like die in a scene.
yeah. They just don't get what the whole process is all about. Huh?
Yeah, and then they end it going like, "Guys, that was great." Like,
No, it
no, it
wasn't.
wasn't.
Yeah, you ruined our night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, so you've got you're going to be working on a documentary. That is next year. You're going to start that?
No, well, part of this tour, I'll start filming throughout. Like, so I'll bring camera gear for this one.
Oh,
So
really?
I'll be filming this entire run. So I'm going to be filming in Butte, in Boise, Twin Falls, Pocatello. And then in November, and some of the times I'll have like a full camera crew with me. So
Yeah.
like in November, I'm headlining the Spokane Comedy Club and Tacoma Comedy Club, and I'll have like a full camera crew with me then. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm filming a documentary starting this tour, and that filming is going to go for an entire year.
Yeah. And then the movie will be coming out in 2027. Is that the timeline still?
Yeah, I think it's going to be more like I was hoping at the end of 2026, but the guy was like, no, it's probably going to be a year to year and a half filming. So he's like, it's probably
Yeah.
going to be in 2027 because I might also be. I just applied to do like the Guinness World Record as well,
Oh,
and then
really?
so where to do the most shows ever done in a year, which I think right now is 309, and if I get approved, I'll have to do more than 309 shows in a year.
That's a lot of shows.
Yeah, yeah. So
A lot of
I
driving.
Yeah, so I will see what happens throughout the documentary, but I'm excited for it because the
Yeah.
whole idea of the documentary is to kind of show the road life of a comedian. You know, people invite us to go do crazy stuff afterwards, or on the fan boats. I've been invited shooting.
Oh,
I've
really?
a lot of, yeah, and so you're going to see like that background of a road life, but you're also going to see how going to every place and traveling and how it changes my improv and the different suggestions I'm doing. So it's going to kind of follow that life of a road comic.
So do you have a camera that you follow around yourself with, or you have a crew follow you sometimes then? Is that what's going to happen?
Yeah, I'll be both. There'll be some
Yeah.
where I'm just filming and I have some cameras for my car and we'll be going all over. And yeah, I think it's going to be fun, and we'll see what we all get out of it. Throughout it, I'm going to be trying to write a couple different comedy specials, so you'll see me in the process of creating a special. You'll see me in the process of like
Damn.
trying to push myself as a comic.
That's pretty interesting. How did that come apart? Was someone come to you with that idea, or was that something you generated yourself?
It was a friend of mine. He saw me at a show one time, and became friends. And he started seeing my show and my improv stuff, and he just was like, "Hey, man, I think this would be really cool to watch on film." He's like, "I've been wanting to film a comedy documentary where he finds
Yeah.
like a comic who's like in the mid area where." Because you get to a point where it's not giving up, but you get to a point where you go, okay, am I doing this or is this what
Yeah.
I be? And he was looking for a comic who's kind of getting a lot of opportunities, but still also doing smaller shows. He's looking for someone who's like, one day you're doing a comedy club and there's 200 people, and the next day you're performing to a bunch of drunks in a dive bar.
Yeah.
Uh, so he kind of wanted to showcase that.
That'd be interesting because I love the whole idea of following that, because I'm always, intrigued by comedians, not just by their act, but by their life like that. So I think there's probably a lot of people like that that would appeal to because that's definitely something like if I'm flipping through Netflix and I see a chance to behind the scenes of a comedy, like Rich Voss's wife and his wife Bonnie made that movie Women Aren't Funny, which was really funny, and that was kind of a behind the scene thing. And I thought that was incredible, and so I really am looking forward to 2027 or so when that movie comes out.
Oh, and it's going to be good because this is like you're really showing the background of not just a road comic, but somebody who's trying to like make something of themselves.
Yeah,
And you're going to see me doing a lot of different things during this next year and a half. I'm filming a TV series with another comic. She's 3'3". She's the
Hmm.
world's smallest comedian. And her
Awesome.
and I are doing a series where she does a bunch of stuff that you wouldn't see a 3'3" person do. So she calls her shows Unstoppable Me because the idea of it is she doesn't let anything stop her, no matter what her size is. So she's going to be like horseback riding. There's going to be a bunch of stuff in it, and then throughout it, I'm going to be helping her do things that she
Yeah.
couldn't. There's like, well, we've already filmed one episode where we go to this place near Moses Lake, and they have like this area where you dig in the mud and then you rub the mud on your
Yeah.
body. And her scooter could not get her out to so I had to put her in a like a kayak, and I had to drag her down this hill. Um, and so it's a fun series that we're creating. So throughout this documentary, though, you're going to see me in the process of creating all of these
Yeah.
things.
Well, that's pretty cool. And also because I'd imagine, I don't know what the percentages are, but very few people actually get as far as your career goes, is your career has gone as a comedian. I mean, it's probably 95% of people go out to be stand-up comedians fail.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot, a
Yeah,
lot.
so that's a big jump to try to do that, for you. Or at least you have the fallback that you're good with working with kids and you can teach improv and all that. But that's kind of a big risk that you took when you first started going out on the road, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and there's a lot of comics who go on the road. I mean, if a comic listens to this, my biggest advice is I would not push that. Like a
Hmm.
lot of times people will do comedy for a year and they'll be like, I have to be booked on things. I have to go on the road instead of like actually focusing on just becoming a better comedian.
Yeah.
Because the road doesn't always make you a better comic because, I just feel like you get in your own head and you think you're doing it. So I think it's good to try to like become a better comedian and work on it for 3 to 4 years before.
Yeah. And I've heard some horror stories on the road just listening to like Jim Florentine, Rich Voss talk about some of the places they went where they have places for the comedians to stay at some clubs and just these dirty old rooms and everything like that.
Yeah, I've had some green rooms that we got put into a green room that it used to be the bathroom, and there's literally still a half broken toilet in there, and then another working toilet, but there's like a curtain that went like that, and you could still, like pee in there. And I was like, why would you put us in here? You put us in a
Yeah.
storage closet. Just tell us you don't have a green room.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd be
So
better off just standing in the back of the arena or the bar or whatever, right?
yeah, yeah. So I've definitely been in some places where I'm like, oh my gosh, is this what my career is right now?
But then I guess there's probably other times when it's just you're probably thinking the same thing. Man, this is what my career is. This is so awesome because the way this is going right now.
Yeah, I've done some shows where I felt that way, like some pretty fun shows. And then, anytime I'm doing like Bark or some of these bigger comedy clubs,
Yeah.
they put us in like nice hotels. Like Bark, they own like the Spokane Comedy Club, Tacoma. They've been supportive of me for my career, which has been
Yeah.
amazing. The owners who own that club, like, a lot of people don't give me opportunities if they don't know me because
Yeah.
I do crowd work. And so a lot of clubs won't book that as a feature. So a lot of clubs don't get to see me, but Adam and the owners of Bark Entertainment, like they've been like, they let me headline their clubs. They're actually through this video, the documentary, they're going to let me do all their clubs. They have like eight,
Nice.
I think it is. So anytime I do those shows, you're like, oh my gosh, these are
Yeah.
amazing. They have
You're living the dream, right?
full green room. They get you food. They put you in a nice hotel that's across the street from the club.
Nice. Yeah. If you don't have any crazy riders or anything like that where you need certain things in your green room.
No, but when I become famous enough, I am going to put a rotisserie chicken in my ride. Just, if anybody hears this,
Yeah.
Montana,
Yeah.
give me a rotisserie chicken, please.
I'll have to tell Brittany, make sure she gets you a chicken for your green room before you go on stage. That'd be awesome.
It's hard to eat healthy on the road. It really is. And I sometimes you just don't have much time to stop and go get food. So you're eating like club food, which it's like nachos or burgers or hot dogs or
Yeah.
things like that. And you're like trying to make it healthy. You're like, you get the hamburger without the buns.
Yeah.
Um, but no, that's why I was like, I love a rotisserie chicken. If I'm in town in a place for 3 days, I'll go to the grocery store, buy me a rotisserie chicken, put it in my fridge, get some salad. I'm like making multiple meals just off that
Well,
chicken.
hopefully Brittany checks this out before the show so she can make sure she's get it because she's doing really great work. You're one of the big shows she's brought in, and she's only been doing this for a few months, as their uptown comedy.
Oh yeah,
So to bring in, like Aaron Foster came in, and there was a guy, can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he's fairly big guy. He was in a while ago, but we haven't had
yes,
a lot of great. Was it Sam? Is that what it was? Sam?
Dan Miller.
Yeah, yeah, he was in. I didn't get a chance to hook up with him. He didn't have time for a podcast before he came in, but next time he says he will. But yeah, that was a great one. And we had Mo Mandel came to town about a year and a half ago. That was before Brittany was doing it, and he had a great show up at the Covalite Theater in Butte. But it wasn't the crowd that they hoped for. So it wasn't in the theater upstairs. It was in the bar downstairs. But it was still 70 some people in a small room. It was pretty. I think he had a good time.
And some of that just takes building. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like after a while, you can get the community on your back. That's the
yeah,
thing is, I produce a few shows myself, And when I produce those, I've learned I have to find a way to get the community to support it and
Yeah.
get them to understand, like, hey, keep coming to these shows, because the more you come to these shows and the more they build, the more bigger comedians we can
Yeah.
have. I book a 45-seat room, and I've had people from America's Got Talent, from Kill Tony, from the
Nice.
Tonight Show in this tiny little room, because I get the community to invest into that show.
Nice. And we used to have a comedy club we have it's a ribbon chop shop is or ribbon chop house, whatever it's called, is at the Copper King Inn downtown. There used to be a sports bar called Jock Sports and Spirits. And there was a Thursday night comedy night that they had for, probably 20 years. It went in a row. I would go as much as I could, and I think Mitch Hedberg was the biggest one that we had come through. And I don't know if I saw him or not, because he was unknown when it came to Butte. But it was a great scene, and it was a packed house every night, and people were pretty good. And then all of a sudden, we go 20 years without hardly any live comedy, and now we got people like Brittany bringing it back, and it's just such a great thing because there's nothing I would rather do. I don't drink alcohol anymore. I quit 18 years ago, but if I'm going to go out to a bar, I want it to be for live comedy. Because it's just a great scene for me. I don't know. It's better than watching a Netflix special by anybody.
Oh yeah, live comedy is probably one of my favorite things to do, and it's kind of, I think that's what made me continue it. Is it's kind of like a magical thing, like to be able to make a whole room
Yeah.
together, make a noise like that's
Yeah.
a crazy thing to be able to do. Is like you're conducting an audience and
Yeah.
getting a response out of them, and it's just a fun thing to be a part of. And that's why I said, that's why I kind of done my show the way I've done my show, is
Yeah.
because my show takes their suggestions. And a lot of audiences, there's two things. Some people don't like going to a comedy show and being picked on. So I've
Yeah.
created this show for people to be able to participate, but not to be called out during the show. But at the
Yeah.
same time, it gives the people who love being a part of the show an opportunity to give me things to create the show around. So this is, 100% crafted from the audience. And
Yeah.
I say that because then if it sucks, I can blame it on the
Yeah.
audience.
And I imagine that was my next question. You've probably had situations where you went to certain towns and the audience just completely sucked.
Yeah, I will be honest. I've had some times where it's just like a bucket full of like the same thing, just gross. And
Yeah.
oh, I can't get canceled. I can't say these things. So
Yeah.
um
Yeah,
yeah.
that probably puts a damper on things if you don't get good crowd participation. Of course, you're not looking, you don't need Rodney Dangerfield to be in the crowd to give you an idea. You're just looking for certain suggestions and stuff to sing about and make it to improv off. So it's not like yeah, you don't need to stack the crowd or anything like that. You just need probably an average sample of the society.
Oh yeah. And that's why I tell people, I'm like, write things that are the things, like write things about what's the town about, like what is something popular in the town, make up a song title, write bad advice that somebody's given you in life, because then I can pull those out of the bucket, and when I see that bad advice, it's going to gain a
Yeah.
response from me. And like
Yeah.
if you write things that make me go, wait, what? And I'm going to be able to fill that in a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Sounds like a lot of fun. And do you research the towns you go to at all for that, just to give you some ideas before you go there much?
I probably will for this show. Usually I can just pull it out in the
Yeah.
middle of the show, which it's fun because I work better on the spot. So if I have to overthink about
Yeah.
the or the town, then I do think, is it Butte that used to, like, someone was originally trying to turn it into like a mini Las Vegas?
Yeah. Yeah, that was the column I wrote for my website mentioned that today. Yeah, Destination Montana, that came out in 2003, where they're going to build six PGA quality golf courses. We don't have the water supply for that or anything. They're
Yeah.
going to build a bunch of like six music halls, play, from theaters, have wide open gambling, build a Six Flags, and their business plan was, yeah, we'll tell you about that later. Just to prove it. just give us the approval to do all this stuff that we want, and then of course the legislature said no way because their plan was is because Indian reservations kind of, they have rights to the open gambling, and their one of their plans was is just let the rest all the reservations share one casino somewhere so Butte can have its wide open. You know, like they never understood why there was tribes in the first place. It wasn't because they always got along.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering because that's what I heard is like somebody was like trying to make something like bigger out of Butte.
Yeah, Bronson, Missouri was kind of was what their model they kept telling us. And that was a big deal. It had people laughing at Butte. I remember there was an editorial from the Missoula newspaper that said, I'll never forget the way it started. It said, "Poor Butte. That tired town is so far down it can't see up." So I worked at the newspaper at the time, so we had to fight back with the newspaper. And of course, it was an unsigned, unnamed editorial that just the view of the newspaper. But yeah, so we get picked on a lot. We're the monorail episode of The Simpsons. I mean, that's
Oh,
kind of what it was like. Everyone's jumping around singing. Nobody was the voice of reason. Except for actually me and one of my buddies, we used to write a column from a bar. We would write in the newspaper, and we poked fun at it. And people, man, people were, you were anti-Butte, you're anti-job, and I'm like, we're just not saying we're against it. We're just saying this isn't real. And
you
they
know,
fell for it.
people like we did a show like I haven't done a show in Butte for probably like 6 7 years. It was maybe like 7 years ago when I came
Oh,
through.
so you've been here before?
Yeah, we stayed in the Motel 6 that has like an auto body car thing built in
Yeah.
to it. Yeah, which was so weird. So the comic before me went to go make a joke. He was like, "Oh yeah, because the only way you would stay here is if your car is broken down." And he went to go. And then he made a joke. It was like, "I went to go Google what was there to do in Butte, and it gave me directions to the highway." You did that joke during these shows, and
Yeah.
you can't mess with like Butte is one of those areas that I feel like you get those like hardcore Butte people. So if you
Yeah.
do that, you're going to get some people mad and
Yeah.
not taking it as a joke. But when I was there, it was pretty fun because we had people take us to a bar afterwards, and everybody was like, "Oh no, here I'll get your food. Hey, no, here I'll get your
No.
beer." People were very much like
Yeah.
excited to hang.
Yeah. Yeah. In Butte, we get a few different people, versions of people. Some of us we're so proud to be from Butte that we're just too much. They don't have a sense of humor. But for the most part, I think we like to laugh at ourselves. Like, if on my website today, I wrote a column about, I was talking to Aaron Foster at his mingle period after the show. And I was kind of talking to him how, we're working to build a comedy scene in Butte. It hasn't been great for years, but we're working to build it up. And this hipster guy says, nothing to laugh at in Butte. And of course, my first instinct was just to punch him in the throat, but then I just kind of ignored it and just let it go because we get that a lot. We get looked down at a lot from Butte, because we got the scars from mining still, and there's current mining pit right outside of town, or right on the edge of town. So it's we get that poke fun a lot. We get people, the kids chant dirty water at us. Our basketball teams go on the road for high school. They chant dirty water, because we've had water scares and stuff. We just had a recent water scare, with the water from the mine potentially was contaminated to drinking water. It was kind of a big deal. So people make fun of us for that, but for the most part, I think people from Butte laugh at themselves more than anything else.
No, yeah, it was fun last time, and I'm hoping that we get a good turnout uh,
Yeah.
for this show because I think it's fun. That's one of the things throughout these filming. I'm going to be going throughout the towns and like you know really showing that background part, and I think it's going to be fun. And Brit, she seems like she puts together such a good show.
Yeah.
Um, she's doing very well at producing and trying to bring entertainment to the community. So I
Yeah.
hope people keep coming out and supporting these shows that she puts on.
Yeah, and she's really funny. And she's such a sweet girl, seems like the girl next door. Then she
Yeah.
gets on stage and she's pretty raunchy and pretty she's
Oh,
just a riot. She had an all-woman show back in, it must have been in August, still maybe early August, and she was by far she was the funniest one on there in my book. Then there's like 6 or 7 women that were all, I mean, outstanding. It was great. It was a great night at the Covalite Theater, but she's really funny. That now was she open up for you? We have an opening act or?
Yeah, so on the road with me, I'm going to have another comedian who's from actually Montana, Chris Jessup, which is funny because he talks about in his act, he used to, there is, why can't I think of what it's called now? Like, the religion where people marry multiple wives and
Yeah. Well, yeah,
everything.
the Jessups is there's a lot of Jessups from the Valley County.
Yeah, so he's one of those.
Yeah.
Uh, but his part of the family got out of that, and he talks about that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm
So
not sure what religion they are, but I know when they went on vacation, there was a group that was at a park in Butte one time and they had to bring a bus because it was,
yeah,
it was,
just huge family. So
yeah.
his like mom and dad and their core family got out of that kind of area, and they still live in Montana. But he's going to be on the road with me, and then I think Brett is going to do some time too, and might get another local comic.
Nice.
So it'll be a fun show. I mean, I'm excited. I've been looking forward to this. No, now that I know there's snow, not as much, but
Yeah. Yeah. It's fine. It was actually snowing like, it was like in a snow globe snowing today at about 11 o'clock, but then the sun came out. It's nice and all the snow's melting really fast. So you should never have a problem in October. It's pretty rare that we get snow before Halloween in,
yeah,
in town, get in the mountains, but not in town. But yeah, yeah, I don't think you have to worry too much. I didn't mean to scare you about
yeah.
that, Cass.
I'll make good film.
Yeah.
So it'll be good for video
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah, I guess you never know around here. We did have a September game. Montana Tech played in Havre like September 11th or 12th one year, about 5, 6 years ago, and it was 8 inches of snow during
But
a game.
Like you guys went to Haver,
Yeah, the Montana Tech team went to Havre, which is it's about a 4 hour drive, five
and
hour
that's
drive.
like up there in the mountains, is that area?
Yeah, it's up in the High Line. They call it up in damn near in Canada.
Yeah,
It's quite a drive. It's flat and windy up there. I don't know what the elevation is, but it's a terrible drive from Great Falls to Havre. It's
yeah.
it's nice once you get to Havre. It's a nice town, but getting there is what sucks.
I performed. I don't think the brewery is around, but I performed at a brewery there years
Yeah.
ago. And the first year we stayed there, and really nice lady who like made us cookies in the morning, and her and her husband were an Airbnb, and then they're like the second time coming around, they're like, oh yeah, they quit. They won't let us do Airbnbs anymore. It was like the time where they were like fighting against Airbnbs.
Yeah.
So like, but we'll still host you at our house and just leave the money on the counter when you guys leave. But we went there and they didn't get to watch us the first time. I'm not a dirty comic, but the other comic was a very dirty comedian on the show. I just saw their face the whole time. And I'm like, well, this is going to be awkward staying at their
Yeah.
house.
That's funny. And you say you're not a dirty comedian. Who are some of your favorite comedians that you watch? Because obviously you seem like you're different than most people that you would see. I mean, you can't say, oh, he's clearly influenced by Bill Burr or Robin Williams or something like that, because you're pretty unique.
Yeah, I would say I like Mike Birbiglia, John Mulaney,
Yeah.
Maria Bamford is I love.
She's funny.
Yeah, she's amazing. I've enjoyed some of like Mitch Hedberg stuff, but big Richard Pryor fan. So
Yeah.
Andy Kaufman. So you can kind of tell like I have like a mix of
Yeah.
people from like storytelling or kind of more like weird humor.
Yeah.
Tim Minchin as well. He's if you never heard of Tim Minchin before,
I don't
his
think so.
musical abilities are really good, and Bo Burnham. So those are like
Yeah. Yeah.
some
I
of the
grew up a huge Carlin guy, George Carlin. I got to see him twice.
yeah.
I saw him at the Wilma Theater in Missoula, Montana, and then I went down to Las Vegas for Super Bowl. Our fantasy football team won a trip to Las Vegas for Super Bowl in 2001, I think it was, and George Carlin was playing at the MGM, so it was
Oh,
great.
that's awesome.
And of course my favorite show of all time though was I sat in the front row in Bozeman and watched Bill Burr in 2013. You
Oh,
know, yeah, it was pretty. I listened to his podcast all the time, so I had the code for in the time for the pre-sale, and
yeah.
it came at noon, and I called right at or I got on the website right at noon, and I got the second and third and fourth tickets that were purchased. I got, so I was in front row. It was pretty awesome.
So that's awesome. Yeah, I've gotten to watch a lot of comics just because like we have a major comedy club here in
Yeah.
Spokane, yeah. So we get to go to a lot of like bigger comics. I think the biggest comic I've probably seen who does like arena style shows is I saw Jim Gaffigan
Oh,
here.
he's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was lucky because when I was working with kids, and one of the moms comes up to me and she goes, Michael, you like comedy, don't you? And I go, yeah. She goes, well, I bought 2 tickets. She goes, do you know, man, what's his name? She goes, I don't know him very well. Like, she didn't know. She just bought them. She goes,
Yeah.
Jim Gaffigan? And I was like, yeah. She goes, here you go. And she gave me the 2 tickets as a gift for, teaching and helping out the kids. And I get there and I didn't know what the seats were going to be. And they were floor seats, second row. So we
Yeah.
were in the arena, like right there.
Wow. That's
So,
awesome. Yeah, I really want to be. My kids got old enough to understand what was being said on TV. That's when I really started to appreciate a guy like Jim Gaffigan, because you can
yeah,
watch his show and the kids walk by and they're not hearing anything. And him and Brian Regan, I love watching both those guys because they're
yeah.
they're they're so good and they're clean.
You'd have to do that thing where you pause the TV and go, yes, what
Yeah,
do I need? Go
yeah.
back to the room.
And now that I got an Apple box, I could just put my AirPods in and listen if it was now. Of course, my youngest is in high schools now, so it's they're not going to hear anything on TV that they haven't heard before. But yeah, but I really appreciated that the clean comedian like that, which it's got to be hard to be mostly clean like that.
Yeah, it is kind of hard doing clean comedy because you're like, I mean, in my opinion, dirty comedy is so easy to write. I
Yeah,
can, I can write it. I can write, new 5 minutes of dirty comedy, like a more rated R comedy tomorrow. Like that's an easy thing, but to think of a clever, clean joke that's going to get people to laugh is more difficult. As we say this, though, I don't. Anybody who listens to this, I'm not promising
you're not
clean.
Jim Gaffigan clean, right?
No, it is. I'm not. I'm not going crazy. I'm
Yeah,
not getting aggressive with it, but at the same time, it is
yeah,
improvised, and I can't make any promises.
yeah,
It it depends who's at that show because sometimes I get really great suggestions and it's a clean show, and then sometimes I get people who are like, "Yeah, sing about this," and I'm like,
yeah.
"Okay."
That's awesome. I love. I just think that it's just a great thing that you do. I mean, it's such a great, unique act. I love it. And I really look forward to seeing it. I think it's the 22nd, which is next Wednesday night, if my
Yeah,
math is right.
Wednesday, yeah, because I do that, and
Yeah.
then
And I'll put a link to people to buy tickets in the show notes and on my website. And there is an ad on at buttecast.com. I have an ad that
oh
I gave Brittany. It's on there right now for it. So people can click on that too and get tickets, and it should be fun. I really look forward to going there and seeing the act, and maybe I'll even give some suggestions for some songs.
yeah, it'll be fun. Like I said, I'll have papers out there and pens, and people can write whatever they want, and yeah, I look forward to coming to Butte.
Yeah. And so what do you do now? You go on the road here probably in a couple of days. Is that what you?
Yeah, I just got done doing Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Lowell, and I just flew in today, and I have tomorrow off, and then Thursday I drive again. So
Yeah.
we go to like Hermiston, Oregon. Then from there, we go to Twin Falls, doing Pocatello, doing Boise, Idaho.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I
That's
think I leave Thursday and I don't get back until next Thursday.
yeah. And hopefully your wife's at work now, so I'm not taking away an hour of time that you have to spend with your wife for this show.
Oh, we, she. This is why we work well together because she just like she's okay with it. We both work remote because other than this, and I book, and so
Yeah.
part of my business is I book improv workshops. I send improvisers to go teach those. So that's my other business that
Yeah.
I and we're just kind of like we're always around each other when I'm home. So
So absence makes the heart grow fonder, right?
Oh yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
If you're having a rocky relationship, try to leave. Try
Yeah.
to leave for a few days.
Yeah. I'm sure my wife would probably like it if I would have to tour on the road for a couple months. Yeah, it probably
Oh,
wouldn't hurt.
I don't mean this in a mean way to people in relationships,
Yeah.
but some people who are like, "You're leaving for 2 days," and they do that. I'm like, "Come on, like just leave, separate please, for just a little bit." And it's, I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, it's great that people love each other that much, but every now and then, it's like, you know, it's just so great.
Yeah.
So, and I care about her. She's an amazing. She's the coolest. She's way different than me. She's covered
Yeah.
in tattoos.
That's
She's
awesome.
can do squats. I can't do those things. And she's just there's not many people who can handle with someone leaving that long. And she's just like, yeah, go do what you need to do.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I appreciate your time, Michael, and I look forward to the show. And maybe when the documentary is coming out, you can come on again and we can talk about that and promote that a little bit.
Yes, that would be great. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, again, thanks for your time, and I look forward to seeing you.
Awesome. Thank
Jewelry Design Center. We want to be your jeweler for life.